look at it.
Another theater comes down.
It's progress. What this city needs is one more parking lot.
Well, I like it. That's the way nostalgia ought to look. I sometimes wonder why our memories don't go the way these walls have gone. Our bodies do. Our plaster flakes away. Yet the fool things we remember stay as fresh as paint. I can remember you.
Oh? What was I like?
A long time ago. What kind of a loving wife are you to drag me here?
I think you wanted me to drag you.
Any bets?
I wanted to come back then. One last look at where it all began. I've been devoting my attention to beginnings lately. I wanted something when I came here 30 years ago, but I forgot to write it down. God knows what it was.
Well, I'm glad that you're glad to be here. That makes one of us.
I love the way you hate it when I'm happy and you're not.
Hey, up there, way up there, what do you say up there? I'm one guy who hates to fly, and I've been up there all day long. My wife, she took the early plane. You haven't seen her, have you? Blonde, about so high? Nope. Oh, crazy. All the traveling I do, I can't get used to flying. I met a fella out in Denver once. Or was it Salt Lake City? Well, anyway, he was airport boss. I used to pump.
Hats off, here they come, those beautiful girls. That's what you've been waiting for. Nature never fashioned a flower so fair. No rose can compare, nothing respectable, heart so delectable. Cheer them in their glory, diamonds and pearls, dazzling jewels by the score. This is what beauty can be. Beauty celestial, the best you'll agree. All for you, these beautiful girls.
here she is at last, twinkle in her eye.
Sally! Sally! Sally, come on, will you? That's our call. Oh, God, my hook's undone. Here, let me. Okay? Okay.
Sally, it is you, isn't it?
Phyllis, of course it's me. You came, you're here. Oh, and look at you. I want to hug you, but I can't. You're like a queen. You're like Jackie Kennedy. Oh, what a thing to say. I'm talking silly.
Well, if you can't, I can.
Hurry!
It's just that out in Phoenix, nothing like this ever happens. I don't think I've slept in days. I'm so excited.
Sally, you look just as cute as ever.
Me, I'm a mess. I've got a tummy. My hair's too bleached. Oh, who cares? New York's all changed. I couldn't even find the theater tonight and this afternoon. When I walked past 44th and 3rd. Oh, Phil, it wasn't there.
What wasn't?
Our apartment where we live. Don't you remember? 5 flights up. I did the cleaning and you cooked. Baked beans and peanut butter sandwiches.
You never made the beds.
I still don't. Remember that awful bathtub in the kitchen? And the racket when the L went by.
You know, I think I loved it.
You were homesick and you cried a lot. Oh, but we had fun.
You married Buddy, didn't you?
He always liked you, Phil.
I always liked him, too.
And you married Ben. I know, I read about you in the magazines. I even saw your living room in Vogue. It's blue. Is Ben in Europe?
Oh, no, he's not with the UN anymore. He's here now.
Tonight? Phil, would you tell me something?
If I can.
Sure, I think about that. A lot, I guess. Don't you?
Not much to think about.
There. You always took a sweet time getting ready. So we josh around, tell jokes. Hell, I even carved my name here someplace.
Way up there. What do you say up there?
God, this place gives me the creeps. I keep on thinking. Phil, now, please, don't think I'm nuts, but being back together here, the 4 of us, I feel all the things I used to feel. Like it was yesterday.
Oh, Buddy, that's a million years ago. 1941. Why, when I see pictures of myself back then, I think someone's put a stranger in my scrapbook.
No, I can't have. I don't like corsages.
Every night you'd bring me.
Yesterday's gardenias, darling, always wilted.
Sure. We got them from the lady in the corner, remember? It was cheaper there.
Things I did.
And then we'd go and dance all night at Tommy's.
Tony!
Oh, my God.
Oh, don't you wish we were still young then?
No, once was bad enough. I wouldn't want to go through all that again.
Hey, up there, way up there. What do you say up there? I see it all. It's like a movie in my head that plays and plays. It isn't just the bad things I remember. It's the whole damn show. Waiting around for the girls upstairs after the curtain came down. Money in my pocket to spend. Honey, could you maybe get a friend for my friend?
Hearing the sound of the girls above, dressing to go on the town.
Clicking heels on steel and cement.
Picking up the giggles floating down through the vent. Goddamnedest hours that I ever spent. We're waiting for the girls upstairs.
Hey, up there,
Way up there.
what do you say up there?
That's where the keys hung, and that's where you picked up your mail.
I remember me and Ben, we come around at 10. Me and Ben would hang around the wings, watching things with what the hell was his name? You know, the old guy. Max, I remember. Anyway, there we'd stay until the curtain fell. And when the curtain fell, then all hell broke. Girls on the run and scenery flying, doors slamming left and right.
Girls in their undies blushing but trying not to duck out of sight. Girls by the hundreds waiting and crying, see you tomorrow night. Girls looking frazzled and girls looking great. Girls in a frenzy to get to a date. Girls like a madhouse and two of them late. And who had to wait? And wait. And wait. And wait.
The boys downstairs, stalling as long as we dare. Which dress from my wardrobe of two? One of them was borrowed and the other was blue.
Holding our ground for the boys below, fussing around with our hair,
Giggling, wriggling out of our tights,
chattering and clattering down all of those flights. God, I'd forgotten there ever were nights of waiting for the boys downstairs. We saw you in the wings.
How are things?
Did someone pass you in?
Okay, we'll take some Pie Girls. I know we are.
Yeah.
Pie Girls there.
Pounding 42nd Street to be in a show. Producer, yeah! I'm talking to you, sir. I don't need a lot, only what I've got. Plus a tube of grease paint and a follow spot. I'm just a Broadway baby. Slaving at the 5 and 10 cash. Waiting for that great day when I'll be in a show. Broadway baby. Making rounds all afternoon, eating out a greasy spoon to savor my dough. Oh, at my tiny flat, there's just my cat, a bed and a chair. Still, I'll stick it till I'm on a bill all over Times Square. New York and New York, Berlin and Bonn. But all Paris, Shanghai, and Beijing, and all in Chicago, working for a nice smell like a Zig for Laura Weissman on the break.
You take one road, you try one door, there isn't time for any more. One's life consists of either or. One has regrets, which one forgets, and as the years go on, the road you didn't take hardly comes to mind, does it? The door you didn't try, where could it have led? The choice you didn't make never was defined, was it? Dreams you didn't dare are dead, were they ever there? Who said I don't remember, I don't remember?
money? What's it matter?
You wouldn't know.
The books I'll never read wouldn't change a thing, would they? The girls I'll never know I'm too tired for. The lives I'll never lead couldn't make me sing. Could they? Could they? Could they? Chances that you miss. Ignore. Ignorance is bliss. What's more, you won't remember. You won't remember at all. Not at all.
Borrowed money, borrowed car. Someday I'm gonna have the biggest goddamn limousine.
We've got each other, Ben. What difference does it make?
All the difference.
You yearn for the women, long for the money, envy the famous Benjamin Stones. You take your road, the decades fly, the yearnings fade, the longings die. You learn to bid them all goodbye, and know the peace, the blessed peace, at last you come to know. The roads you never take go through rocky ground, don't they? The choices that you make aren't all that grim. The worlds you never see still will be around, won't they? The Ben I'll never be, who remembers him.
I remember him. I even think I loved him. Once.
Then it was too late.
We've got two. Tom and Tim. Sally picked the names out. They're in San Francisco now. She gets lonely for them, calls them on the phone, and fights.
I'm crude and foolish, and we used to wash away our afternoons with Gallo wine and one another, listening to pop hits and the news. I have a birthmark under my left breast, just here. My only flaw. I think he loved that in me most of all. He was so tender touching it, and when he kissed me there, one found it difficult to breathe. I thought it answered everything. But these things pass. And I have $30,000 worth of Georgian silver in my dining room.
Whatever happened to you, Phil? Where did you go?
I went my own damn way. And don't make waves.
Instead of what like the branded tux, the right girl. She's with you no matter how you feel. You're not the good guy, you're not the heel, you're not the remote that sang your name when you shot the right girl. And I I'm back, babe. Come help me unpack, babe. Hey, Margie. Hey, bright girl. I'm home. What's new, babe? You miss me. You smell good. Come kiss me. Hey, Margie. You want to go dancing? I'm home. The Des Moines was rotten and the deal fell through. I pushed, babe. I pushed, babe. I needed you to tell my troubles to. The heck, babe. Let's neck, babe. Hey, Margie. You want to go dancing? You want to go driving? Or something? Okay, babe. Whatever you say, babe. You want to stay home? You want to stay home? It's day, babe. My flight goes. No stay, babe. You know how you cry, babe. Stay home. Be good now. We'll speak, babe. It might be next week, babe. Hey, Margie. Goodbye, babe. I gotta go home. She sees you're nothing, thinks you're king. She knows you've got other songs to sing. You still could be hell well anything when you got, the right girl. And I go. Now I want to talk.
To lovers' ears, a lover's voice is music. A song that no one but a lover knows. To lovers' lips, a lover's lips are petals. A velvet promise budding like a rose. A lover is transported by his rapture. As ever heavenward his heart ascends. The lover's heart contains a lover's secret, which only the beloved comprehends.
Lovers are like lovebirds in devotion. If separated, they must swoon and die.
evening. Good evening, dear hearties. Steady. And welcome to a very special program devoted entirely to the new hit musical Follies, which opened in London last month. It's going to be the most glittering event they've seen in these parts for a while, I'll tell you. They've come from yards to be with us here tonight. Outside, thousands are thronging the pavements, aren't they? Yes, Harry. Hoping for just a glimpse of the stars we have on the show. What a happy crowd they are, doffing caps, tugging forelocks, picking pockets. And here, in the theatre itself, definitely something in the air. I think it's mildew. Certainly not me, but our audience, crinolined and dinner-jacketed, still glowing from the champagne and strawberries, from the... For goodness sake, keep the illusion. The champagne and strawberries from the DG's private stock that we served them just before we came on the air. A happy crowd. And they're settling back now. Some of them are asleep already. To enjoy the songs and the stars of Follies. Julia Mackenzie, Diana Rigg, the legendary Dolores Gray, and the composer Stephen Sondheim. All right. Now, for those of you who don't know, the show takes place at a reunion of girls from the Follies. This country would be a kind of reunion of the Tiller girls. That would be the equivalent. At the theatre in which they performed their dazzling revues, it's about to be pulled down, so they're all meeting there again. They reminisce and they perform some of their old numbers, and we see how they've changed over the years. But enough of the plot. My first guests have performed in many of a folly of their own, haven't we all? Including the 1959 Eurovision Song Contest, when they sang that immortal ditty, Sing Little Birdie. We can all do that, can we? Sing Little, yeah. You all know it, as if it were yesterday. Now, in Follies, they play Billy and Wally Whitman, a much-loved American singing duo, just as they are. Please welcome a much-loved British duo, singing a song that could have been written for this theatre, Rain on the Roof. Pearl Carr and Teddy Johnson.
On the roof go pit-pitty-pat, 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 we won't get home for hours. Relax and listen to the rain on the roof go plunk-plank-a-plink-plank-a. Let's have a drink and shelter from the shower. Rain, rain, don't go away, fill up the sky. Rain through the night, we'll stay cozy and dry. To the rain on the roof, go pit-pitty-pat, plunk-a-plink-plank, pity-pat, it's not a hurricane. Listen to the lovely rain. Rain, rain, don't go away. Fill up the sky. Rain through the night, we'll stay cozy and dry. Listen to the rain on the roof, go pit-pitty-pat, plunk-a-plink-plank, pity-pat, it's not a hurricane. Listen to the lovely rain.
It's a good job you two get on well together, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, all that. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, was that embarrassing to do all that at first when you were in rehearsals?
No, not at all, no.
In fact, you rehearsed in your back garden, didn't you?
We did.
For the dancing.
And the neighbours were very worried.
Yeah.
They wondered what it was all about.
It can't be easy to learn to dance in your back garden with all that soft shoe stuff.
No.
Well, it wasn't so much soft shoe. We just had to move around.
Yeah.
So the garden was the biggest place to do it.
Yeah.
So got Pearl to cut the lawn,
yeah.
and...
Yeah. Because, well, it's very hard to do it in kind of pampas grass, isn't it? You can't see what your legs are doing. This particular song, I mean, you know, just in case people don't know, I mean, it's a pastiche song. As it goes back.
Indeed,
it's a kind of turn of the century.
Right,
piece of music.
absolutely
It's
right.
not the kind of thing you'd sing nowadays.
Oh, not really, no. I don't think
before
we've...
our time. That one.
Never.
It's even before Sing Little Birdie.
No, there was no music before that. But I mean, it's that kind of song, isn't it? That kind of
Indeed, yeah.
Broadway thing. And
That's right, yeah.
That's the couple you play.
I think it's something that, that Wally probably found, when he was a kid, or when he was about 20 years old, when he formed the act. About, I think, probably about 1920, 25, they started singing it. Yeah. And it got them into the Follies, with all the little actions that they do.
Congratulations. And I mean, when I was there for the opening night, you got a wonderful round of applause. Not just sentiment, because you've been so smashing in the show.
Thank you, sir.
Pearl Carr, Teddy Johnson. Now, the composer of Follies is a man who begat legends and spawns cults. Love him or hate him, and some have been known to do both at the same time. He's changed the shape and style of the Broadway musical. The lyricist of West Side Story, the writer and composer of shows as diverse as A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, Company, Sweeney Todd, A Little Night Music, and Pacific Overtures. He's probably best known for having written one of the most recorded songs of all time, Send in the Clowns. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Stephen Sondheim. From a busy schedule, delighted to see you. You're here, obviously, to open the Follies.
Yes. Yes, we had a nice opening.
Yeah. You're an extraordinary man. The subjects that you pick for musicals are tremendously original. I mean, one wouldn't have thought that you would pick Ingmar Bergman's Smiles of a Summer Night on which to base a musical, but you did with the Little Night Music.
Yeah, well, we wanted to do, we being Hal Prince and I, wanted to do a romantic musical, and we had tried many years earlier to get the rights to a play called Ring Around the Moon that had big success here. And we couldn't get the rights, so that 10 years later when we had the chance again, we tried again, and again we couldn't get the rights, and so we decided we would try to find the nearest thing to that. We wanted to get a musical that took place over a weekend and in some kind of elegant surround and dealt with romance. And the Bergman picture, though it's darker than Little Night Music, that is to say it's more about death, nevertheless provided us with the springboard for it, and with Bergman's approval.
And of course, probably the most popular and possibly the most recorded song that you'd ever done, Send in the Clowns, was written as a kind of adjunct.
Oh, well,
the second thought?
Not exactly. There was a spot in the second act which required a song, but the leading lady, we had not expected to get anybody who could sing because we needed somebody who had great glamour and style and a sense of stage comedy. And we thought to get a lady like that of what we call a certain age and at the same time somebody who could sing was probably unlikely. So I made that part the lightest vocally. I wrote very few songs for that part. I had none for her in the second act. And this spot in the second act, which is sort of the climactic scene between her and her lover, I had intended to write a song for the man who was cast as a singer. And then we found that we cast Glynis Johns that she could sing. So that during the third week of rehearsals, Hal Prince said to me, I think we could afford to have Glynis sing this song because I think her voice is pretty. So why don't you go home and think about it? And I did. And it only took 2 days to write that song.
I remember going to see A Little Night Music in London, and it was enormously popular, great success, and great charabancs full of people coming from all over the country, and they sat there bemused because some of the music, in popular terms, was a little difficult, a little inaccessible. I sat there bemused myself, and everybody was waiting for Send in the Clowns. And once Gene Simmons, who sung it on the stage here, sung it, then we all went away happy.
There's a funny story. Ned Sharon was coming out of a music tent, which is a stock production, that is to say, of Little Night Music in the United States, and heard one couple at the end of the show going up the aisle. And it's right after seeing Little Night Music, the woman turned to her husband and said, "That song, Send in the Clowns, is so pretty. What's it from?"
You don't care, do you?
No. My goodness, it's the show that counts. I mean, it's lovely if you can get a popular song, but that's so, popular song is so much a matter of luck. It's the right artist, it's the right song. I don't think Hello, Dolly might have been such a big hit if Louis Armstrong hadn't decided to record it when he did. And the same thing's true of Send in the Clowns, which was started off by Judy Collins, and if she hadn't, it was 2 years after the show had opened that she picked that song up. But the song had been lying around there for 2 years, and nobody recorded it, or nobody recorded it successfully. So it's very much a matter of luck.
But you don't believe, anyway, in making much concession to
there isn't that
popular taste.
Well, in these days, it's not a question of concession. In the old days, when popular music came from the stage and came from films, it made sense, but it doesn't anymore because popular music now, the source of popular music is the artists themselves, the recording artists. They write their own stuff for the most part. And it's the rare song that comes from the theater and becomes popular. And it's usually because it's picked up by somebody, or somebody puts a lot of money into plugging it or something like that. But it's rare. So there's no point. And in a way, it's a relief because 25 years ago, you had to worry about that sort of thing. Nowadays, you don't have to worry about it.
Your great inspiration was Oscar Hammerstein.
Yes, he was sort of a surrogate father for me, and he certainly taught me everything I know about the.
But he wrote enormously popular.
Yes, but
music.
in those days, all the popular songs came from movies and stage. This was before the pop revolution of the 50s.
Was he a help to you, Oscar Hammerstein?
All the time. Yes, I always played everything I wrote for him. Up until the day he died, I always went to him first. Not necessarily for critical reaction, just because I wanted to share it with him. And one of the signs of my growing up was when I started to argue with him. In my mid-20s, I started to argue with him. Because I'd play him something he would criticize. I'd say, well, I don't know about that. And then I knew, and he could see that's like the son growing up and beating his father at tennis, you know.
It's the old cliche question, but how do you do it? You sit down at the piano and tickle the ivories and...
No, I'll tell you, you know, you get limited by your own piano technique if you do that. My piano technique is moderate. I have a very good right hand and a very lumpy left hand. I'm very right-handed.
A lumpy left hand?
Oh, yes, good for that sort of stuff. But the right hand's very flashy. And I was, as a matter of fact, urged by my music teacher when I was 14, 15 to take up a concert career. And A, I don't like performing in public, and B, I realized my left hand was never going to be very good. So if you write at the piano, you tend... First of all, your muscle memory tends to make your fingers fall into the same chords. And secondly, if you have a bad left hand, it's going to show up in the music. So I try to write away from the piano as much as possible, try to hear the music, which is the way most classical composers did it, you know. It's if they had written at the piano, although Stravinsky is a famous exception. He wrote everything at the piano, which is very hard to believe when you hear something like Rite of Spring. But I try to write away from the piano, and I try to make the lyrics and the music develop at the same time.
You like to do it all yourself, though?
Oh, yes, yeah, I prefer it. I have fewer people to argue with.
How do you think Follies... a British audience regards Follies, because we don't know Ziegfeld and his Follies.
Well, you have the Dillingham shows here, and you certainly have a history. You have a history of something slightly different here, which is music hall. That is to say, what we would call vaudeville in the United States. That is to say, top-line entertainers and dance numbers, sung numbers. That's all the Ziegfeld Follies were. They were really vaudeville shows with, only they would have headliners like Fanny Brice or, you know, international entertainers. And then he was famous for his parade of chorus girls, beautiful chorus girls, which is what I suppose distinguishes Ziegfeld Follies from the, say, the British music hall tradition or the Dillingham shows or something like that. He was very strict, for example, about his girls not be thought of as ladies of the night or as easy pickups for the stage door Johnnies. He made them wear gloves in public, for example, and if he caught any of them on the street without gloves, she was fired. I mean, he absolutely, it was very, very important to him. And in fact, many of them married extremely well-to-do and very respectable people.
As indeed they did over here.
Oh, well, there it is. But it's probably because Ziegfeld wanted to be sure that they were not treated as, quote, chorus girls, end quote, but were treated as ladies. And he made them behave as ladies.
Yeah. Now, you first staged it, I think, on Broadway 16 years ago.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Has it changed since then?
Oh, yes, we changed it quite a deal. Our attitudes, Jim Goldman, who wrote it, and our attitudes have changed towards it, and Cameron McIntosh, who produced it, was anxious to have Jim take another look at it and maybe another take. So it's different in texture. It's a little hard to describe how different it is unless you'd seen both.
It's a great pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Stephen Sondheim. Thank you. Now it can be revealed, I recorded that chat with Stephen Sondheim last week because he had to fly back to America. And now, back to the show itself, to one of its biggest stars, singing one of the best numbers in the show. This is wonderful. You'll love it. Losing My Mind, Julia Mackenzie.
To friends, I think about you. going right. I dim the light and think about you. Spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, or were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind? I want you so, it's like I'm losing my mind. Does no one know? It's like I'm losing my mind. All afternoon doing every little chore. The thought of you stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I dim the light and think about you. Spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, or were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind?
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Thank you.
And watching you, you get emotionally involved when you're singing.
I do a bit. I do a bit.
You can't do it any other way.
I suppose you can, but all his stuff is so internal. You know,
Yeah.
they're all acting exercises, and you recall little things from the past and use them.
But you used to sing that in Side by
I
Side by
did.
Sometime
I've
as
sung
well.
that for 18 months of my life.
You've sung it a lot, and yet every time you sing it, you still feel...
Well, his stuff does trigger off. I think it triggers off not only in the performer, but also in the audience. A lot of people have said, yeah, we wept, you know. I think for instances in your own life.
Well, I'm sure many people in our audience here, many people at home, used to seeing you in Freshfields.
Yes.
See you singing something like that. They think this is not the Julia Mackenzie we know and love. I mean, and you have in the theatre, and indeed on television, played some fairly wither-wringing parts. Yeah. And yet you seem an uncomplicated person. You seem very vivacious and unaffected.
Well, that's nice of you to say so, Terry.
Yeah, well, I mean, I expected. I mean, surely the prima. Well, no, it's true. The prima donna doesn't break out a lot.
Good God, man, I was born in Enfield. You don't get prima donnas in yeah.
Do you think maybe if you were more of a prima donna, you might now be a dame of the British Empire?
Oh, dear God. No. Good Lord, no. No, you don't have to put on the style, do you?
No, you don't. Not when you've got as much talent as you have.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, and, this whole thing, wasn't this... I mean, not without taking away from Stephen Sondheim, I know you wouldn't anyway, but wasn't this your idea? Wasn't this...
Well, so
Didn't
they
you
say.
say to Cameron McIntosh...
So he says. I think we must...
Or have you forgotten?
Well, we most probably were quite drunk, the pair of us, somewhere, I don't know. But I don't actually remember saying it, but I'm sure I probably did, because any time I get a chance to get any of Stephen's work on, I work at it very hard, because I just want everybody to get to know his stuff. You know? Well, we've just celebrated, quite rightly, George Gershwin's anniversary, 50 years of his death.
Yeah.
I hope it's not another 50 years that we're celebrating Stephen Sondheim. I hope we all stand up and shout now and say, yes, you're a genius.
and please write lots more.
Yeah, but as I said when I was talking to him, and as he admitted, he doesn't make many concessions to what could be called popular taste.
Oh, no, no, no. He makes the audience work. One of the remarkable things about playing in Follies, indeed in any of his stuff, and I've done 2 shows before of his, is the quality of silence when you're singing. It's not for the singing, it's for the words. People listen. The audience goes along and it listens to every single word.
Yeah. I'm always worried when that happens to our audience. I'm always waiting for somebody to fall off the balcony. No, Stephen told us of the show about roughly what the story was about. But you're a kind of an old showgirl returning for the reunion. But what kind of a character do you play?
Yes, well, she's a silly woman, really. She's gone through 30 years of really thinking she's in love with the wrong man, when actually she's got quite a gem under her own nose. And she goes back, and the memories of the past, the ghosts of the theatre visit them, the ghosts of their youth visit them. And they see themselves a little bit. I mean, it's not a, you know, we walk off into the sunset hand in hand and happy at the end. I think there's a lot of working out to do at the end of the show, but I think they see themselves a little more clearly at the end of the evening.
Yes. Somebody said, the one criticism that I saw was that perhaps it was about the original book, that it was a little bitter.
Yes,
a little bitter about marriage generally and married couples.
Yes, I think a little of that still remains. Perhaps it's not bitterness. I read in the newspaper the other day, Cameron McIntosh had said he doesn't think it's business, it's truth. And I
that
think...
can often be fairly sour, yes.
Yes, yes. I think it's realistic. I think people will find a lot of resonances in their own lives.
Yeah. And you?
No, I'm very happily married. I'm one of the...
You're going to say few.
Well, Phil, I was in Company, and that was about the breakdown of marriage, and I think I set the record of being the only person to get married during Company. I think about 5 couples got divorced.
So what about you? You're in this show probably for a year.
Yes.
Certainly for a year.
Yes.
And therefore Fresh Fields is not going to be made anymore.
No, we're not going to do any more Fresh Fields.
Aren't you?
Oh, thank you very much.
Be quiet or we'll sing another sad song.
No, Angela and I decided after 4 series we'd probably got the most out of it that we ever could.
Yeah. Quit while you're ahead.
As storylines were concerned, and we thought we'd rather leave while we were
Because you
winning.
won so many awards for favourite comedy actress of the year and all the rest of it.
It was lovely.
But after this, I'm sure you'll win many more. Well, you have already won awards as a serious actress.
You don't do it for awards, do you?
No.
I mean,
but awards are nice, though.
awards are very nice, but I tell you, singing Stephen stuff is an award in itself.
Okay, well, look, don't go away.
I won't.
Because there's somebody that you probably haven't met for at least 10 minutes. And I'm sure you won't mind meeting her again. So in the meantime, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Some might find it surprising that my next guest has taken on the mantle of a Follies girl, but then her career has been full of surprises. Just when she seemed destined for a lifetime of great classical roles, she turned up as Emma Peel in The Avengers. And though she's been back to the classics since then, it hasn't been without the odd side trip with Morecambe and Wise, and indeed the Muppets. She's even been on my show. And now she's bearing, if not her all, quite a bit every night at the Shaftesbury. She won't do it tonight, I promise you. You can stay tuned. It's a family show, you know. Please welcome Diana Rigg. It's nice to capture you both because you're both very busy and you're in this highly successful show. We've grabbed you in between the shows, as it were. And don't think I haven't enjoyed it. Now, the old dancing is a little bit foreign to you.
It is a bit foreign, yeah.
But you hoofed with the best of them. I've seen the show, and you really do dance very confidently and with great flair. How did you train for that?
Well, about 3 months before we started rehearsals, I started taking tap and dance classes. And I did about 6 hours a week. And then, of course, there was always the kitchen. I mean, while you're peeling the potatoes or doing the vegetables or something, you can always practice your tap steps at the same time. I'm not saying that the meals were quite up to standard, but the tap got better.
Yeah. I mean, your daughter, did she help at all?
Yes,
did she ever do a bit of tapping?
Oh, well, she's an old hand at tap dancing. And so we used to go to tap classes together, and she'd think, oh, Mummy, surely you can get that right. And, oh, goodness me. It was a wonderful occasion where suddenly we had role reversal. You know, usually I'm saying to Rachel, please don't do that, or try and get that right. And she was saying the same to me in the tap classes.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a tap dancer. You wouldn't care to give us...
I'd love to see it, yeah. How about the table?
Well, no, I'd probably break the damn thing. Now, I'm sure we won't get you to give us an exhibition now.
Yeah, I'm shy.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Well, a lot of actresses are, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You were a shy young lady, weren't you?
I'm a shy older woman now, yes.
There's a picture of you and Julia taken during rehearsal, which I think the public should see. You probably can't see it because you can't see it. Yeah, but that's what happens during rehearsal. You've got mugs up your noses. What was that all about?
Are you going to tell the story?
I think we were rehearsing a number called The Girls Upstairs when we have wine glasses, and they'd given us plastic beakers. And I think another member of the cast was going on about notes and things, and we bit on our things and sorts of, well, hurry up, you know.
Yes, me.
Yeah, touch of longueurs in that.
Yeah, well, because there's a lot of parts in the show that people do one song and then, as it were, dress the act. And it can be a frustrating show from that point of view.
No.
No?
No. I mean, it's lovely. Watching other people work on stage is one of the greatest pleasures to me.
We both listen to Adele Lee every night, you know, and it's mesmerising every night, and every night makes me cry.
And we can see Dolly Drops, who's coming on shortly.
Does it not ruin your concentration?
No. And I'm just in the wings while Dolores, whom you'll shortly to me, does her number on stage. And it gives me such a thrill every night. I can just see, it's a sort of three-quarters profile of her. And I can't see the audience, but what you see is this towering figure at work between these two curtains, and it sums up the whole show for me.
Your career has been a bit of a potpourri, hasn't it?
It is, really.
Would it have been better if you'd stuck to the one thing, do you think, or are you happy?
I love change. I love doing as much as I possibly can, and tilting my lance at all sorts of windmills and falling flat on my face sometimes. I think possibly it would have been easier if I'd stayed in straight and classical theatre. In a way that you just sort of, I mean, it's a bit like anything. You just graduate, you just go up, you know. I'm difficult to categorize now.
Well, that's good.
Where do I go? What do I do next?
In the show itself, you're faced with your characters as they were when they were 20 years before, younger. If that happened in real life, what would you say to your younger self?
Oh, I'd say just don't go pell-mell through life in quite the manner that I did. You know, when you're young. But there again, when you're young, you don't take advice, do you? That's one of in the nature of being young. But I was so enthusiastic for life and hungry for experience and everything. And I think consideration, just a tiny bit more consideration about how one's energies were expended. But it's only a minor regret. It's not a major one.
No. What about you, Julie? Would you...
Quite the opposite. I mean, go for it, because I was so inhibited for such an awfully long while. I look at youngsters today and think, God, what a life they've got, and I think I'd go for it more.
Yeah.
Not waste a minute.
Yes, I think it's tougher for youngsters now.
It is in many ways, but they also, everything's very oriented towards them, isn't it? I mean, clothes and music and that, so we never had those things.
What, you was to walk around naked with not hearing anything, hearing no music
they
at all?
didn't used to make clothes for teenagers. Then I used to have, you know, cut down suits of my mum's and things and oh, it's tragic, isn't it? I don't anymore.
Obviously you get on very well together. There is
we
the
have to.
camera.
We dress cheek by jowl.
Yeah.
And the Lou's on my side.
Yes,
she's got to get on well with me, or I won't let her come through my room.
To get the Lou, yeah. But honestly, you must have both worked with the people that you did get on so well with. I mean, that must be.
Hang about. It's a terrible cliche, this, you know. It really is. Actors and actresses largely get on, and certainly actresses. You know, when you look at the lineup for this show, and it's a show about women, and largely, there are more women than men, right? And we all get on wonderfully well, much to the dismay of those people, you know, the gossips who like it when people are at loggerheads. I think actresses do get on.
I think so. I feel like other women. That's the main thing, and it's great. I mean, it really is. It's like a big family when you're going at night. That's what's lovely.
Good.
And I hope it will take us through the whole year.
I'm sure it will. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, as promised, as promised in the conversation, my final guest is one of the few show business legends who started at the top and stayed there. A Broadway star caused a sensation when she came to London for the first time to star in Annie Get You Gone. She caused another sensation when she came back to star in Gypsy. And now she's causing another sensation in Follies with, as you'll hear in a moment, one of the best show tunes ever written anywhere. First, let's meet and talk for a moment or two to Dolores Gray. We've heard you all get on very well together.
Oh, it really is absolutely true. It's not just actorsy talk. They, as two leading women in the company, have been unbelievably kind and gracious to me. I was welcomed the very first day. I met Julia just the night before, and then the next morning Diana, and they just couldn't have been more wonderful to meet, to begin to know, and I love them both very much.
And that came from the heart, too. Were you delighted when you read the reviews? Do you read your reviews?
Enchanted. Yes, I do. I know many people say that they don't, but I can't wait. I'm just in agony until they come out, because if they're wonderful, I have to know it, and if they're not, then you might as well know it quickly.
What about you, Diana and Juliet? I mean, I don't think I'd want to read them.
I stopped. I used to when I was younger, but I don't.
No, I think it's a good idea maybe to take them out like 6 months into the run when it's a cold, wet day, and maybe if friends have said they're okay, you can read them to cheer yourself up. Yeah. But she didn't need any notices. The wall of sound that goes up after she finishes, she didn't need a notice. You've got to get on the spot every night.
But then you're used to applause in London with Annie Get You Gone and Gypsy.
Annie was such a wonderful experience. I'll never forget it.
And Gypsy,
the
too.
kindness, the sweetness. Times were very hard then, and people would stand outside the stage door and give me their coupons and their candies. Yes,
this was
it
rationing.
makes me cry. This was Annie Get Your Gun. Austerity was very much in evidence then, and people would stand and give me an orange, and they'd say, "You work so hard, and we love it so much." They really were just unbelievably wonderful.
I remember you in movies as well. You didn't, for some reason, stay in movies. You seemed to prefer the theater.
Well, that was a sadness to me, because I began first of all, I wanted to be a performer so badly that I put myself in my first contest at the age of 7, not knowing how to do anything, but I just said, well, I'll dance. I guess I'll tap dance. And my mother said, well, do you know how? And I said, yes, the little girl down the street goes to dancing school, and I give her a nickel, and she teaches me what she's like. It's true. So I went, and I won 2 pounds, and I was bitten. I was bitten. I knew at 7 years of age, I knew what I wanted to do.
You have this enormous voice, great resonance. Yeah. Was that always an attribute?
No, I began to sing then when I was about 13 and a half, and then I was on Sustaining on NBC when I was 14 and a half.
Sustaining?
Sustaining means there are no sponsors. It's like radio, but without sponsors. Kind of like the BBC, I think, isn't it? But when all the singers would be ill or something, they'd say, telephone the school, get the kid, she's on at 4:15.
Get the Sustainer.
What I started to tell you about MGM, though, was I was there at the very last, when Gene Kelly was no longer doing films there, and Howard Keel was. I did Kismet with Howard Keel. I believe that was his last picture. So it was at the end of an era, and I found it an extremely happy time. I loved it. I loved going in every day, doing something new. That's what you two have been fortunate enough. You go in a movie, you can learn every day and you know, perform in your craft and learn from other people. And I watch both of them every single night. I'm in the wings every single night.
The wings are very crowded.
A whole lot of people admiring each other, obviously. The atmosphere is heavy with sycophants.
But it's true.
Yeah. Will you sing the song for us?
I will indeed.
Please do. Dolores Gray, ladies and gentlemen. To sing then one of the all-time great showstoppers, one of the all-time great showstoppers in her own right. From Follies, I'm Still Here, Dolores Gray.
still here. Plush velvet sometimes, sometimes just pretzels and beer. But I'm here. I've stuffed the dailies in my shoes, strummed ukuleles, sung the blues, seen all my dreams disappear. But I'm here. I've slept in shanties, guest of the WPA. But I'm here, danced in my scanties, $3 a night was the pay. But I'm here, I've stood in bread lines with the best, watched while the headlines did the rest. In the Depression, was I depressed? Nowhere near. I met a big financier, and I'm here. I've gotten through Herbert and J. Edgar Hoover. Gee, that was fun and a half. When you've been through Herbert and J. Edgar anything else is a laugh. I've been through Reno, I've been through Beverly Hills, and I'm here. Reefers and vino, rest cures, religion and pills. But I'm here. First, you're another slow-eyed vamp, then someone's mother, then your camp, then you career from career to career. I'm almost through my memoirs, and I'm here. I've gotten through Hey Lady, are you, who's this? Whoa, what a looker you were. Or better yet, sorry, I thought you were who's this? Whatever happened to her? Good times, tough times, I've seen them all, and my dear, I'm still here. Plush velvet sometimes, sometimes just pretzels and beer. But I'm here. I've run the gamut, A to Z. 3 cheers and damn it, say la vie. I got through all of last year, and I'm here. Lord knows at least I was there, and I'm here. Look who's here. I'm still Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my thanks to all my guests tonight, to Pearl and Teddy, to Julia, Diana, Dolores, Stephen Sondheim. We'll see you on Monday. And they'll be back at the Shaftesbury, but I'm still here. have a blameless weekend. See you 7 o'clock Monday. Good night. Good night.
In 35 minutes on BBC One, we've Dynasty, when Ben has every reason to become jumpy over his daughter's attachment to Clay, because Clay's mother used to be his own mistress. Well, no time to explain.